This is MJ. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an analyzer. Find all my work at mjmunoz.com. Welcome to Henshin Inspection Presents Kissing Concrete. Visit mjmunoz.com/KC for notes and links, and don't forget to subscribe. Like, share, and comment to help me grow. So, this is my inaugural, my first episode of Henshin Inspection proper, sort of, or Henshin Inspection Presents proper. I just got through with celebrating Ishinomori, where I did 5 pieces talking about Ishinomori, his works, his legacy. Specifically, I watched shows, 5 different shows, or really 4 different shows, 5 episodes though, and talked about them. That's actually not true. It was 3 shows and 1 comic, and you can check that out in the notes and such to find all that stuff. But anyway, I decided after that I should go ahead and launch Henshin Inspection proper, and part of that is going to be, as I described in also my the 3 introductory episodes I did of Henshin Inspection, is that I'll be talking about other shows on a week-to-week basis or on a as-I-can basis. And as I talk about those shows featuring Henshin heroes, I will try to draw conclusions from them and try to basically better understand the genre or subgenre, I should say. And that's what I'm going to do. And I picked actually a really interesting show to do that with, Concrete Revolutio, which is written by, or like creative lead, Shō Aikawa of Bokenger and other Super Sentai fame. I can't remember what other stuff he did specifically. I'll put some of it in the notes. And this is a Studio Bones anime that he, was heavily involved in creating. And like I said, he's kind of the main creative guy behind it. He pulls a lot of weight in the production of the show. Anyway, so that's what I'm going to be talking about. Concrete Revolutio. There are 2 seasons. One is 12 and the other is 13 episodes for a total of 25. I believe that's the correct number. I've watched like 3 episodes total. This is probably my 3rd or 4th time watching episode 1, and for whatever reason I kind of had trouble grasping it before, but maybe it was because of the time jump stuff. But now I understand the time jump. It's easy to see on the screen. You just pay attention to the big number. Both events happen in January, but it's 5 years apart. One is in year 41 of whatever era, and the other's in year 46 of the other era. So that's interesting. But basically, I want to talk about the Henshin hero aspects of this show, and it's full of a world, or it takes place in a world where there are all sorts of superheroes living in Japan and all around the world. And there's a superhuman bureau who Jiro, our pink-haired main dude, he's part of the superhuman bureau. They take care of superheroes, and I mean that in both ways. Superhumans, don't have to leave their homes and change jobs and move all the time if their identities get exposed thanks to the Superhuman Bureau. But also, if a superhuman is too dangerous for their own good or for other people, Jiro and others in the Superhuman Bureau will execute them, kill them, contain them, something like that. It's a little mysterious. We see that over the course of the 5 years, something happens to Jiro and Kikko, this magical girl who he meets. She joins the Superhuman Bureau after the events of, year 41 of whatever era. And over the course of that time, she gets entrenched in them. He kind of escapes from the Superhuman Bureau and becomes an enemy of them, or to them, or something like that. And it's very complicated with the back and forth. But basically, it's seeding the idea that there's something not right with the Superhuman Bureau. And it looked like he killed this Ultraman analog, Grosse Augen, who, that's a tough name for me. Anyway, he allegedly killed him, but it turns out he didn't really kill him. It gets more complicated. You got to watch the episode. And he and Grosse Augen basically are allies by the end of it. And Kikko she sounds like she wants to defect from the Superhuman Bureau as well. And he bids her farewell. And that's kind of the end of the episode. So I'm not sure why I synopsized it, because I more want to talk. I guess I kind of have to talk about what happened in it to talk about it. I'm going to go at kind of a base level, since I'm talking about, since there's all these different characters in here. There's another character, Furuota, who got minimal screen time in this episode, and he'll be featured more, I think, in the next episode, if not the 3rd one. Anyway, he's, it turns out he's a ghost, but that gets complicated. He transforms himself into a wolf in a train car. Then we see in the opening that he can turn into like a bird too, and other things. So we'll learn more about him, but we'll get to that. And I don't know if he qualifies as being a Henshin hero. Maybe if you expand it, as broadly as possible. But anyway, we've got Kikko, who's a magical girl. I think she's called Starchild. We have this cop, this regular cop dude who becomes Grosse Augen, and he's, like I said, an Ultraman analog. Kikko Starchild, she's a Sailor Moon analog. She even has the magical girl transformation. She's got a rod. She's got a little, guide totem thing. It's this little red bean-shaped thing. I think it's a traditional Japanese thing because I've seen it like in Kamen Rider Drive. They put Mr. Belt on it at one point, and the chief or whatever of whatever they're called, the special division, has something like it in his office. It's like this little round red face. It's red, weird shape, almost like a Russian doll, and it has a face on it, but I don't think it opens up or closes or anything. But her little thing transforms into like a scooter, like an air scooter for her, and she's got a wand, kind of like Sailor Moon gets her wand eventually in the show. And it's the same transformation where she's, naked basically. Her hair and eyes are there, some of her other features, but her body becomes like transparent, and you can see all this magical stuff going. Very cool transformation, very cool magical girl costume. It's like spacey, it's regal. It's it's cool. It's very cool. And again, I am one of those folks who does consider magical girls to definitely be Henshin heroes, and I talked about that previously. And that's something that can be expounded upon here. And then Grosse Augen, like I said, it's an Ultraman analog. Instead of having the beta capsule like thing, or he has something like a beta capsule, and it looks like a tusk that has something on the top of it, and it like opens up, it extends, and like there's liquid or like some sort of energy thing inside of it, and that opens up, and then he transforms. So kind of like an ancient type of Ultraman. And I read up on Ultraman a while ago, and it sounded like they wanted him to look more like Garuda, the Hindu god, I think. But it looked a little too villainous, so Super Eye decided to have the design, change. He rejected that one, and I think that's kind of interesting. But that's going a little too deep for me as far as what I want to talk about this show. And then Jiro, finally, he has a mecha, a car that transforms into a literal iron horse, as Kikko calls it. He refers to it as a Kikai. I'm listening to the dub. I'm watching the dub, and Kikai is machine. So, like, Rider Machine is the name of the Kamen Riders motorcycles and whatnot, like Cyclone for Rider 1. Anyway, no, I'm sorry, Typhoon, the belt, or is it the other? I think it's Cyclone, Typhoon is the belt. Anyway, it doesn't matter right now. That's a tangent. But he calls it a Kikai, and he can't quite operate it, and that's why he refers to it as Kikai, because he's talking about the machine that they're in. It's called Equus, I think, for like horse, because it's an iron horse type thing. Anyway, so he's maybe like a Super Sentai, or I don't know, something analogous to that. It honestly kind of reminds me of like Robotech, because they have those ships that transform into like the walking, two-legged Gundam type things. And then again, in Gundam Wing, we have the main guy, the Gundam Wing or Wing Gundam or whatever it's called. It's a like fighter jet, but then it also transforms into a Gundam. So it reminds me of that. So I mean, that's weird. The vehicle is changing, but he's not changing. But then in the preview, he's got something going on with his arm where like all this power comes out of it and explodes. So like, I wonder if this dude's a cyborg. Also, his arm's all bandaged up, and later on he has a scarf, and he's able to activate some sort of power with, I think, that particular arm when they're on this train to stop it. So like, there's a lot going on. I'm very confused. I feel like I'll need to really get more, like, deeper into the show to really understand what's going on, other than just starting like, oh, this is a reference to that, and that's a reference to that, and trying to, determine what all the references are, which is not something I'm really interested in doing, and I'm sure you're not interested in hearing that. I'm supposed to be analyzing, these Henshin heroes, and so far, it's a little thin. Although, I will say, the stuff with Grosse Augen was really interesting because it examined Ultraman. They call him like Earth's greatest hero or Earth's greatest defender, something like that, and that was really cool because Ultraman, as I understand it, is older than Kamen Rider, and while there haven't been as many Ultraman as there have been Kamen Rider or Super Sentai, he's still like a huge hero in Japan, and like even the series run for shorter amounts of time, but they have movies and events and whatever. But like Ultraman's a bigger deal than Kamen Rider or Ultraman, as far as I understand. And Super Ride Productions is doing a good job of putting Ultraman into the United States, in a really, really good way. They've got a strong footing with the Marvel Comics and the anime, and making it available on different streaming services. But anyway, it was really cool to see like the reverence that he was treated with, and then like the story behind the bike cop. I won't struggle with that. He's a cop. He's a good cop, just guy. He gives up his life basically 2 times to save Grosse Augen because he's just that kind of man. And at the end, when Grosse Augen goes home and we get the big reveal about what exactly happened, it was really cool to hear that as long as he could keep his heart focused on justice, he would be able to control the other S-type planetarian, the other alien that had turned into a kaiju that he had fought as Grosse Augen earlier in the episode. And it was really cool to think that he's got this potentially evil alien that he's basically taking over the body of or merging with, and he's able to like tame that power and control the alien by keeping his heart focused on justice and goodness and things like that. And that was really powerful to me. So like there was a little flashback to the cop and Grosse Augen meeting, and then him giving up his life for Grosse Augen. And then again, he's willing to give up his life just to let Grosse Augen go home. He's willing to die. But Jiro lets him merge with the other S-Planetarian that had formerly been the bad guy. And there's some bigger plot about this S-Planetarian comes from this, maybe planetoid thing, Scorpio, and they're trying to hide from them. But I don't know I'm confused as to if Grosse Augen and the other alien were both S-Planetarians or not. I don't know what S-Planetarian means. Again, I think it's a reference to the fact that Ultraman or the Ultras come from the M787 or M707 or something like that galaxy or nebula or whatever. That's what it feels like to me. It's a nod to, especially because at the end, the color scheme of Grosse Augen, like the rebirthed or renewed Grosse Augen, is red and silver, just like Ultraman, whereas before that S-Planetarian had been like blue and black. So anyway, like that was really interesting, really compelling. Kikko, I don't have a very good grasp on her. It feels like she's a new magical girl. Her little totem friend helper thing mentioned something about her failing a test, about her ending up in a laboratory if she doesn't like hide her secret identity and things like that. So, and then like she reveals herself at her work, so she ends up quitting, and then she goes hired, I guess, at the superhero bureau or superhuman bureau, and that's all interesting. But like, I don't know, I can't really dig enough yet into it. It sounds like she's got a good heart and she's a good person, so it'll be interesting to see if like she's being fooled and the superhuman bureau is really a negative thing, and if she fights against that and wants to fight against that. When she learns that Jiro at the end had gone against their order, she's relieved and very happy, and it sounds like she's saying like, you're the one like I want to be with, or I want to ally myself with, or I love, or who knows. But it feels like there's some romantic tension. At least they probably became very good friends. So like, 1, I'm engaged by the story. 2, I'm engaged by all the spectacle and all the cool designs and stuff. And I'm trying to, parse all that out and kind of strip all that away to focus on the Henshin hero aspects of it. And I can't quite do that just yet. And I'm going to have to be okay with that, because this is an ongoing effort, an ongoing attempt to deal with all this stuff. And I guess that's pretty much all I have to say. There were some really cool images in the episode. I love like this weird like comic book look, like they're trying to do like Ben-Day dot or something like really flat. I don't know, just like the way they're texturing like the cityscape and things like that is really neat. They have some interesting perspective shots, like the S-Planetarian rises, it grows in size and it kind of jumps in size, like Ultraman when he towards the camera, anyway, that's a reference thing, right? But like, it's cool because it gives the scale, and they have a line in there about how Grosse Augen like pulls himself and the kaiju he's fighting into another dimension, basically, so that, and Kikko speculates it's like, so that he doesn't damage stuff as he's beating up the bad guys. And there's like a very simple, naive look or perspective that she has on everything, and like Jiro knows that there's more going on than that, and it's going to be interesting to see her naivety change. And I hope that the show mostly goes in chronological order so I can see how things escalate to being, so negative later on. But again, that's all interesting. There's a lot of, like I said, splash and sizzle and spectacle to this that alone are engaging and super cool to see. And anyway, it's winning on that end of being a cool Henshin Hero show, because it's got cool stuff happening that's, drawing me in and making me want to watch. So I'm intrigued. I don't really have much more else to say. I feel like this is a bit of a mess, but I'm not going to keep pushing it because I feel like I'm at the limit of my abilities right now. So I'll go ahead and get out of here basically, and then hopefully, please look forward to the next episode of Kissing Concrete, where I'll be talking about Concrete Revolutio episode 2, season 1, episode 2, and we'll see what more I can learn, what more I can glean about these heroes and whatnot as I'm trying to examine what it is about Henshin heroes that hooks me.